Okay, let's unpack this stack of sources because what we have here is it's not just an investment trend. It's a terrifying projection of, the immediate future.
He really is.
For centuries, when humanity talked about inequality, we were talking about material wealth. We were talking about, what you owned, where you lived, or the power you held over other people.
Exactly. Historically, the difference between a king and a peasant was, well, circumstantial. It was infrastructural.
Right.
If you were rich, you were insulated from the elements and maybe you ate a bit better. But when the Black Death swept through, or when a common infection set in,
It didn't matter.
it didn't matter. King and commoner were fundamentally equal in their biological vulnerability.
That's the crucial baseline our sources established. The rich man had a big house, maybe a faster horse, better clothes. But biologically,
They were the same.
they were equals in the face of disease and aging. And this incredible fact is often overlooked. King Henry VIII, for all the gold and power in England, died at 55, obese and in agonizing pain.
Just like any poor farmer of his era.
Exactly. Wealth, historically, could not buy vitality. It could not buy time.
But that historical era, as you correctly point out, is fundamentally over.
It's gone.
The premise of this entire deep dive is immediate and, frankly, stark. The greatest divide in human history is no longer financial. It is becoming biological.
It's a shift that's accelerating us toward a world of acute biological inequality.
Yes.
And here's where the investment thesis completely shifts. Our sources, which dive deep into what they call the upgrade economy, show how smart money is pouring billions not just into making marginal profits,
No, not at all.
but into securing biological advantages for themselves. They're buying time, buying intelligence, and buying fundamental immunity.
We're talking about gene editing, longevity science, and neural technology moving from the lab bench to the marketplace. It's happening now.
So our mission, based on this fascinating source stack you provided, is to look at this through the lens of a sci-fi nightmare, that is. Well, it's becoming operational reality.
We are examining the acute risk of human speciation,
Speciation.
where the rich become not just richer or more privileged, but fundamentally biologically different. A separate caste, possibly an entirely separate species running on superior hardware.
And that is the central tension we have to establish immediately, because the technology we are about to discuss, CRISPR, brain-computer interfaces, advanced pharmaceuticals, it is undeniably cool.
Oh, it's revolutionary.
Genuinely revolutionary. It offers cures for devastating diseases, and it holds immense potential for human flourishing.
But the trajectory of its commercialization and the resulting societal implications are terrifying.
Utterly terrifying.
And we must move quickly because this future is accelerating faster than most people realize. We need to define key concepts like longevity escape velocity,
Right.
understand the implications of the forthcoming designer baby catalog,
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one.
and confront the coming economic obsolescence of the natural human in the highest value sectors.
So let's jump straight into section 1, dissecting how this fundamental biological gap is forming. Biological inequality, the new caste system. Oh, okay, so we established the historical baseline, right? King Henry VIII died early, despite all his power. The differences between classes were, in essence, superficial. The size of your castle, the number of servants, the quality of your diet
But the human operating system,
was identical. The core code, the DNA, was subject to the same decay and the same terminal deadline.
and this is the pivot point in the sources, that biological equality is dissolving rapidly.
How so?
The smart money is not just investing in better infrastructure anymore. They are investing in fundamentally changing the biological substrate of the wealthy.
So not just building better walls, but building better people to live inside them.
Precisely. They're positioning themselves to be the gatekeepers of technologies that actively rewrite the human code, specifically aimed at extending cognitive peak performance and lifespan.
You mentioned the King Henry VIII analogy, but let's elaborate on why that paradigm is shifting. The sources frame the investment in longevity and cognitive enhancement not as some abstract science funding.
No, it's much more pragmatic. They call it the CapEx spending plan of Silicon Valley.
Capital expenditure, talk about that.
Well, when a corporation spends CapEx, they are buying an asset, a factory, a piece of machinery that will generate value for decades.
Right, it's a long-term investment in productive capacity.
Exactly. Now, what is the ultimate ROI for a billionaire investor?
Themselves.
If they can spend, say, $100 million today to extend their own healthy cognitive peak lifespan, by 30 years. Think about that.
That's 30 more years of making deals, of innovating, of compounding their wealth.
The investment window alone allows them to generate orders of magnitude more wealth. The return is not just financial, it's existential.
So they guarantee control over their intellectual property, their companies, their political influence for longer.
They're effectively maximizing the productivity window of their most valuable asset, themselves.
That makes the shift utterly pragmatic, doesn't it? It's not just a vanity project, it's a competitive business strategy to extend the life of the CEO.
And this is why the source stack predicts that by 2030, the new class divide will be absolute and permanent. We move beyond the simple haves and have-nots.
To what?
To the enhanced and the natural.
And what precisely defines the enhanced? What does that look like?
It's access to technologies that move beyond simple preventative medicine. It's gene therapies that don't just fix a rare disease, but actively reverse cellular aging markers. We're talking epigenetic reprogramming.
Wow.
It's brain interfaces that hypothetically could instantly double one's working memory or processing speed. They are not merely acquiring more wealth, they are literally buying biological superiority.
This transition from a material wealth gap, which is always, theoretically mutable.
Right, you could win the lottery.
You could, for
Yeah.
a biological superiority cap. That's the terrifying heart of this discussion.
It is. Previously, if you were poor, you could still win the genetic lottery. You could be born healthier, stronger, or smarter than the richest person on Earth.
But not anymore.
But if the elite can now buy 50 healthy years for themselves and, say, a 20-point IQ boost, coupled with genetic disease immunity for their children, they aren't just richer.
They're running a different version of the human operating system.
Exactly, version 2.0.
And that changes the entire definition of competition in society. If the playing field is not just slanted by economic background, but fundamentally different. I mean, if one competitor has a body designed to resist cancer for 150 years.
And a brain connected directly to the vast computational power of the cloud.
Then the game is already over before it begins for the natural human. They are competing against an evolutionary upgrade.
That's why the sources frame this trajectory as the potential end of unified humanity. It's not just that the poor will be marginally worse off.
No, it's that the rich will initiate a self-selected evolutionary divergence.
A speciation event.
A speciation event. The most valuable asset in the 21st century is no longer Bitcoin or oil or gold.
It's the quality and durability of your own DNA.
So let's talk about the absolute obsession driving these CapEx investments. Solving death. This is where we hit that critical concept you mentioned, longevity escape velocity.
Or LEV. This is the definitive holy grail for this industry, and it's basically a mathematical tipping point.
Okay, break that down for us.
Currently, science is improving health and adding about 3 months of life expectancy for every year we survive.
So for every year that passes, we get about a quarter of a year back.
Right. We are losing the race because aging biologically accelerates faster than our ability to fix it.
So we're essentially running up a down escalator. We gain 3 months of life, but lose 12 months to aging every year.
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
But the moment science accelerates past that threshold, the point where we add more than 1 year of life expectancy for every year that passes, that is LEV.
The escalator starts moving up faster than it's moving down.
Exactly. Once you hit that velocity, you become effectively immortal because technology keeps adding more time than your body loses to biological decay.
You just have to stay alive long enough for the next breakthrough to save you from whatever's next.
And this is why the smart money figures like Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel, Sam Altman are pouring astronomical resources into operations like Altos Labs and Calico.
Right.
They view death not as a biological necessity or a metaphysical reality, but purely as a complex software bug.
That can be debugged with enough capital and sophisticated computational biology.
Precisely.
And the sources confirm the progress is very real. This is not idle speculation based on, 1990s ideas of trionics.
Not at all. We've seen genuine biological progress. Reversed aging in mice, which is a major breakthrough, and rejuvenation of human skin cells in lab settings using reprogramming factors.
So the science is actually working.
It's progressing. And the prediction cited across multiple sources is chillingly clear. The first person to live a healthy life to 150 years old has likely already been born. Wow. But here is the terrifying catch. The immediate mechanism that enforces this biological caste system.
The price tag.
The price tag. The first successful treatment, the first ticket to that escape velocity, will not be distributed as a global public good. It will be priced purely based on demand elasticity.
And given that the demand for immortality is essentially infinite,
The price will be astronomical.
millions.
Millions, perhaps tens of millions. This high price point sets an absolute non-negotiable barrier. It establishes the initial exclusive group that gets to board the immortality rocket, leaving the vast majority behind.
So they secure a decades-long biological advantage before the price inevitably drops.
They're securing their own multi-lifetime competitive moat.
This sounds almost too fantastical, but we don't need to look to the future to see how society has already proven its tolerance for this exact dynamic.
No, we don't.
The sources highlight the perfect precursor. They call it chemical class warfare.
The training wheels for the upgrade economy.
Exactly.
You are talking about the GLP-1 drugs,
Yeah.
like Ozempic and Wegovy.
Absolutely. This is the first wave where a high-cost drug delivered an instant visible biological advantage. For the first time in history, we have a pharmaceutical injection that effectively cures obesity and related metabolic issues for many. But it costs around $1,000 to $1,500 a month, out of pocket for most people.
And the outcome was immediate and striking. The wealthy, who had the disposable income or the highest tier corporate insurance plans, got thin and healthy instantly.
The sources note how sectors like Hollywood and high finance transformed seemingly overnight.
It proved the efficacy of buying a biological advantage.
Meanwhile, and this is the vital point the sources make, the poor, the demographic who statistically suffer most acutely from diet-related illnesses,
The very people who need it most.
are left fighting opaque insurance bureaucracies that relentlessly refuse to cover these drugs unless they meet stringent, often debilitating criteria.
And that proves the core thesis to the smart money. That society, for all its talk of fairness and equality, will tolerate a world where the rich have a distinct, visible biological advantage, thin, energetic, low-inflammatory markers, and the poor do not.
So this sets the stage for the next wave.
Absolutely. If people are willing to pay thousands just to manage weight, imagine the infinite, irresistible demand when the drug doesn't just manage weight, but increases focus,
Or requires 3 hours less sleep a night.
or actively prevents cellular decay and aging.
The lesson learned is clear. Biological advantage is the ultimate non-negotiable luxury product, and the market for it is boundless. So if GLP-1s were the chemical precursor that proved social tolerance, we now move to the main course of human reengineering, genetic modification. Specifically, CRISPR-Cas9.
Right.
This is where the cool, world-curing technology meets the genuinely terrifying dystopia head-on.
CRISPR-Cas9 is arguably the most significant scientific breakthrough of the 21st century. I mean, it allows us to edit DNA, the very source code of life, with the precision and ease of using a find and replace function in a text document.
We have a functional edit button for our own biology.
For the first time, yes.
And the initial trajectory, the entirely ethical starting point, was curing devastating single-gene diseases.
And it's working. The sources cite breakthroughs that justify the research. Sickle cell anemia cured. Beta thalassemia cured. Fixing the broken is a humanitarian angle that makes the technology palatable.
But the smart money shift, which is detailed extensively in these reports, is explicit.
And it's a huge shift.
The real profit isn't in fixing the 1% who are genetically broken. It's in upgrading the 99% who are already healthy.
This moves the science from somatic editing, which is changing the body cells of an existing person, to the permanent intergenerational change of germline editing.
And that is the absolute Rubicon. That's the ethical boundary humanity has, well, rapidly crossed, though often out of sight.
It is. Germline editing means changing the DNA of an embryo before birth. It ensures that the change is passed down to all subsequent generations. This is no longer personal health care. This is permanently rewriting the family line and ultimately the trajectory of the species.
And it's not just some future tech.
Oh no. The sources are very clear that the technology is already progressing past the first generation of tools. We're not just talking about CRISPR-Cas9 anymore.
What's next?
For the technically savvy listener, the focus is already on newer, more precise tools like base editing or prime editing. These allow for single nucleotide changes without even cutting the DNA strand, which increases safety and precision.
So we're moving from clumsy scissors to molecular scalpels.
A perfect way to put it. The capability is moving incredibly fast.
And this technological acceleration is what leads directly to the terrifying reality of the designer baby catalog.
It's the inevitable market response.
This isn't abstract science fiction anymore.
Not at all. Imagine walking into a high-end fertility clinic, not with worries about inherited disease, but with a futuristic menu of desired traits.
Like ordering a car with options.
Exactly. You're checking boxes.
Right.
High IQ potential, 20/20 vision, increased muscle fiber density, resistance to early onset Alzheimer's.
My
The
God.
wealthy will not simply be giving their children better schools and tutors. They will be giving them an inherently superior, optimized genetic code from birth.
This is the speciation event defined.
Yes.
When the differences are coded permanently into the DNA, the inequality is locked in biologically and permanently. The children of the enhanced group are not just benefiting from accumulated financial wealth.
No, it's so much more than that. They are benefiting from accumulated biological superiority that their children will also inherit, creating a non-reversing feedback loop.
We need to just step back for a moment and consider the sheer weight of this.
Please.
We are talking about rewriting human inheritance, permanently closing the door on the natural lottery of genetics.
The terrifying political reality is, if one segment of the population can afford to give their children superior genetic resistance to disease, superior processing speed, and superior physical resilience,
Their children will dominate.
they will dominate every single metric of societal success, from the university application process to the highest executive offices.
Think about the professional implication, which is the immediate threat to the listener. If you, the natural human, are competing for a high-value job, say, designing complex AI systems or running a multi-billion-dollar portfolio
Right.
against someone who was genetically optimized for laser focus, perfect memory retention, and disease immunity, you have already lost.
You've lost.
Yeah.
You are competing with an evolutionary upgrade that has fundamentally superior biological resources.
The difference becomes fundamental, immutable, and intergenerational.
The genetic moat is far higher and more enduring than any financial trust fund. It ensures that the biological caste system perpetuates itself.
And that, I think, is the single most compelling reason why this trajectory is so terrifying. It fractures humanity into two distinct, unequal biological populations. So, okay, we have the slow generational play, the genetic upgrade via CRISPR, which takes decades to fully manifest its potential.
Right, that's the long game.
If that's the long-term strategic advantage, what about the immediate high-octane advantage? That's where the sources turn their focus to the digital upgrade. Brain-computer interfaces, BCIs.
The biological upgrade is simply too slow for the pace of technological acceleration we are currently experiencing.
So genetics can't keep up with Moore's law.
Exactly. Our sources show that the digital upgrade, the BCI, is seen by the tech elite as the necessary next step, not just to gain an edge, but simply to maintain human relevance in an age of exponentially improving AI.
The most famous proponent here is, of course, Elon Musk's Neuralink. And while the humanitarian angle, helping paralyzed people regain function, curing neurological diseases, that's the entry point.
It's clearly the Trojan horse.
It has to be.
Yeah.
The ultimate stated goal is symbiosis with AI to prevent humanity from becoming, in his words, a house cat to AI.
And this is the critical mechanism. As AI, or GPT-6, as one source names the near future model, gets smarter and faster, humans rapidly become the bottleneck.
Well, I was too slow.
Our input-output is pathetic. Our physical methods, typing, speaking, clicking, are simply too slow, too lossy to effectively communicate and interface with the vast, rapidly updating knowledge of the cloud. Our fingers and thumbs are obsolete.
A BCI bypasses that biological limitation.
Completely. It allows instant, thought-driven connection to the AI engine. Imagine not having to Google an answer, but simply thinking a complex query.
And the answer just appears.
The synthesized complex data is returned instantly to your cognitive processing unit, augmenting your working memory in real time.
You gain the capacity for instant skill downloading.
Telepathic, non-vocal communication with other augmented humans. The operation of machinery with pure mental commands.
So the BCI isn't just an accessory.
It's being pitched as a necessary survival tool for maintaining peak economic productivity.
And the sources make the economic implication devastatingly clear. They suggest that in the white-collar economy of 2030, the augmented worker
The one with direct high-bandwidth access to AI symbiosis.
will run circles around the unaugmented worker. It will be, and I love this quote, like bringing a calculator to a nuclear physicist's convention.
It's not even a fair fight. It creates an immediate cognitive divide. The natural human worker, once valued for complex analysis and decision-making, becomes economically obsolete in those fields.
And this isn't just theory, is it?
No, we are already seeing competitors emerge. You have Synchron, which focuses on less invasive BCI methods, and BlackRock Neurotech, which targets medical applications. The technology is advancing on multiple fronts.
which ensures that augmentation will be a viable consumer product sooner than we think.
Much sooner.
And just like the initial longevity treatments, the best, fastest, and most secure chips
The ones that unlock the highest possible productivity gains.
will inherently go to the highest bidders. The enhanced aren't just living longer, they're thinking faster, learning instantly, and controlling vast computational resources mentally.
This accelerates the speciation event from a slow biological divergence to an immediate, profound cognitive divergence.
It creates an enormous pressure point on the working population, doesn't it?
It does. For the elite, the BCI is a massive competitive advantage and a choice. But for the middle-class professional trying to retain a high-paying job, it quickly becomes mandatory to keep up with performance metrics.
Regardless of the ethical discomfort of implanting a device in your brain, we've established the what genetic upgrades and cognitive enhancement. Now let's explore the how.
The mechanics of control.
Exactly, how this biological divide is enforced and institutionalized, not just by price, but by the very systems that govern our financial and medical lives.
And we start with financial coercion, specifically the insurance industry.
This is perhaps the most insidious aspect because it requires no government mandate, no global conspiracy.
It simply utilizes the existing profit-driven financial framework. We are moving rapidly toward what the sources term biometric underwriting.
Okay, so what is that?
Insurance companies, life, health, even car insurance, are fundamentally interested in reducing risk and predicting outcomes.
Sure, that's their business model.
They don't want to guess your health risks based on self-reported lifestyle questionnaires. They want to know your health risk by accessing your real-time physiological and genetic data stream.
The deal, which sounds harmless, is laid out clearly in the reports.
It's always framed as a choice.
Wear this continuous glucose monitor, share your genetic sequencing data, allow us access to your microbiome analysis, and we will lower your premium by 50% or more.
It's a voluntary, massive discount program. That's the marketing.
But the flip side is the penalty, which is the coercion mechanism.
Of course.
If you refuse to share your data, if you choose to remain biologically opaque, natural human, your premium doubles.
Then triples. Then, over time, the natural human becomes financially uninsurable, deemed a catastrophic, unknown liability by the system.
Let's look at specific scenarios.
Please.
If you lack the widely available cancer-preventing gene edit, you are a walking risk factor. Your health premium skyrockets.
And if you refuse the BCI that incorporates enhanced safety features, a system that detects microsleep instantly and disables your autonomous vehicle, for example,
Your car insurance goes through the roof.
because you pose a statistically higher risk of human error, you're a bad bet.
The chilling outcome is clear. People won't adopt these technologies because they want them or even because they believe in them.
No.
They will adopt them because they cannot afford to live without them.
The financial system, through the weaponization of premiums and risk assessment, coerces compliance, making the biological upgrade a necessity rather than an elective choice.
Now, let's turn our attention to the physical manifestation of this divide, the med-bed economy.
The luxury survival infrastructure.
That's what it is. It's being built right now to service the enhanced class.
Our sources detail the rapid rise of luxury longevity clinics in global high-wealth hubs. Zurich, Dubai, Miami.
And critically, these don't look like hospitals.
Not at all. They're designed to look and feel like Four Seasons resorts, complete with bespoke nutritional services and private security details. They are architecting survival for the elite.
And what do you get for your money?
These longevity clubs charge an enormous annual subscription, often between $50,000 to $100,000 a year,
Wow.
for exclusive access to immediate full-body MRIs, deep genetic sequencing, customized peptide therapies, and specialized procedures like therapeutic plasma exchange or blood washing, which is claimed to reverse aging markers.
It's healthcare as a subscription, where the subscription fee is essentially the most potent form of life insurance.
And the motive is deeply psychological and financial.
What do you mean?
Why leave a colossal fortune to your children when you can spend that fortune to live long enough to be your children? The rich are spending a massive percentage of their net worth to secure time, because time is the ultimate asset multiplier.
But this infrastructure creates a devastating systemic side effect on the public health apparatus.
The brain drain.
The brain drain. The most talented doctors, the most innovative medical researchers, the most capable surgeons are leaving public
which
hospitals
are already struggling under financial strain.
to work in these highly profitable private longevity clubs.
And the result is a systemic collapse of resource distribution. The public health system buckles under the weight of the aging, underinsured, and genetically unoptimized poor.
So the enhanced are not only getting superior, proactive, life-extending care, they are actively diverting the finite, most talented human capital away from the resources that the naturals depend on.
Yes, and this brings us to the ultimate terrifying consequence when you combine obsolescence with systemic inequality.
The post-human economy and the useless class.
Right. The sources reference the historian Yuval Noah Harari's concept of the useless class. Historically, the rich needed the poor.
They needed factory workers, they needed foot soldiers, they needed mass labor to generate wealth and maintain power structures.
But in the 21st century, with exponential advances in AI, robotics, and, crucially, human augmentation,
the enhanced with their BCIs and their AI agents.
they do not need the natural humans anymore. One augmented individual can manage a fleet of robots and AI agents capable of performing the specialized work of hundreds of unaugmented humans.
So the terrifying economic question arises, and it's a question of human purpose. What is the natural human for?
What is their economic relevance in a world where complexity is managed by the augmented and physical labor is handled by machines?
The most likely answer proposed in our source stack is Universal Basic Income, UBI.
But we must be specific. This is not the idealistic UBI of abundance, where humanity is free to explore the arts and leisure.
This is a UBI of containment.
Containment is necessary because redundancy breeds resentment. An economically obsolete, aging, and increasingly unhealthy population poses a severe threat of social unrest and revolution.
So the UBI ensures they are paid just enough to survive, stay quiet, and perhaps most critically, consume digital content.
Distracting them inside the metaverse from their own obsolescence.
And the biological divide is thus formalized. The enhanced manage the real world, the scientific advancements, and the global infrastructure.
And the naturals are managed by it, economically irrelevant and contained by a basic financial drip feed and endless entertainment. The separation is complete.
This all boils down to the ultimate ethical and practical dilemma of the upgrade economy.
Right.
When a life-saving, life-extending, or life-enhancing technology is scarce, who gets it?
Does vitality become a luxury good protected by price?
The source material addresses this head-on. The scarcity is not a failure of production. It is, at least initially, engineered.
Engineered by price and patent law. The companies holding the intellectual property, the developers of new genetic therapies like Vertex and CRISPR Therapeutics, the BCI manufacturers, they have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to maximize profit.
And maximizing profit means pricing the cure, or the upgrade, at the absolute maximum the market can bear.
Which ensures that only the top financial tier can afford the ticket.
This instantly transforms a medical breakthrough into an exclusive commodity.
We saw a macro preview of this during the early days of the pandemic when vaccine supply was scarce. Distribution went overwhelmingly to rich nations first.
That demonstrated that scarcity is prioritized by wealth.
With personalized biotech, the scarcity is targeted at the individual wealth level. We are moving from debating income inequality to fighting wars over vitality inequality.
The difference in how long and how well you can live based on your balance sheet.
And the smart money knows this social conflict is coming. The sources mention that when one segment of the population lives twice as long and is cognitively superior to the other,
the resulting jealousy, resentment, and anger will lead to significant, potentially violent social unrest.
of course it will. That is why their investment playbook includes a definitive hedge against this coming societal fracture.
Which is what?
Simultaneously investing billions in physical security buildings, state-of-the-art bunkers, developing autonomous defense systems, and installing high-tech, self-sustaining habitats.
They are building higher castle walls precisely because the people inside are literally living twice as long.
And are intrinsically superior to the people outside. The life differential itself becomes the catalyst for conflict.
So let's quickly summarize the pragmatic investment strategies derived from this situation. We should frame them as a financial hedge against your own potential obsolescence.
Because that is the cold, hard advice embedded in these documents.
Go ahead.
First, you long the tool makers. You don't bet on a single drug company that might fail a phase 3 trial. You bet on the stable companies that make the machines, the reagents, and the computational platforms necessary for all gene editing and sequencing.
Like Illumina and Thermo Fisher.
Exactly. They profit regardless of which specific therapy wins.
Okay, what's second?
Second, you long the patent holders, the gatekeepers of the future. Companies like CRISPR Therapeutics, Vertex, and the IP holders of cutting-edge neural interfaces. They own the foundational intellectual property that defines the next phase of human evolution.
They control access to the code.
They control the code. Third, you look for massive upside in human augmentation BCIs, advanced prosthetics, and the infrastructure that supports the rapid cognitive divide. You recognize that demand for this will become non-negotiable for high-value jobs.
And finally, the most immediate and personal hedge.
Invest aggressively in your own biology. Sleep, diet, rigorous exercise.
Why?
Since the first ticket to escape velocity is estimated to cost millions, the goal for the average person is to stay healthy for as long as possible, just long enough for the price of the technology to drop.
You're trying to stay in the game.
You're hoping to catch the train before it leaves the station entirely. You need a ticket to the future, even if it's the cargo car, and your health is your down payment.
Which brings us to the ultimate question we have to leave with the listener, tying directly back to the initial promise of this deep dive. Given the terrifying reality of the speciation event we have detailed and the vast potential for human betterment this technology offers, we have to confront the moral architecture being built.
And it is being built right now.
So the question is it ethical to buy a longer, healthier, smarter life if your neighbor, simply due to financial circumstance, cannot afford it?
When life itself is priced as a luxury good, what moral obligation exists for the architects of that technology? What is the cost of biological freedom?
So we've uncovered the core finding of this deep dive. The biotech divide is not a theoretical future threat.
Not anymore. It is an accelerating current reality, fundamentally separating the human species into the enhanced and the natural.
And this shift is enforced by pharmaceutical costs, permanent genetic modification, financial coercion via insurance, and inevitable cognitive obsolescence.
It suggests that the next generation of inequality will be permanent, biological, and self-perpetuating.
But let's leave you with this final provocative thought, building on the source material's mention of private bunkers and autonomous defense systems.
Right.
If the enhanced are living, say, 150 healthy, cognitively augmented years, and the naturals are economically obsolete, contained by a basic UBI, and dying at 80,
What happens then?
what form will the conflict over vitality and basic human dignity ultimately take?
What happens when the useless class realizes they have been permanently locked out of humanity's evolutionary future?
What is the breaking point of vitality inequality, and how do you fight against people who have literally bought more time than you?
That's something for you to explore on your own.
Thank you for supplying the sources and for joining us on this deep dive into the upgrade economy.
We encourage you to continue analyzing the world around you because the future belongs to those who own the code.